Welcome, everyone, to the Retro Pool Guy podcast. I'm your host, the Retro Pool Guy. And as always, I'm joined with my good friend and producer, the Drunken Beard. How you doing, Nick?
I'm doing well. Just it's been a crazy month. Pop's had some open heart surgery, but he's doing well.
That's good to hear, man. I'm glad that everything worked out really well for you, man. That's so
Yeah,
good.
all touch and
All
go
right.
for a bit there, but yep, all good now.
Thank God. Good man. And as always, we got our co-host here with us, Normal Andy. How you doing, man?
Hanging in there. It's been a pretty
Hanging
crazy
in.
month for everyone, I think. But I'm
We've all
glad
had
your
a
dad's
pretty
doing
wild month.
okay, man.
Oh yeah, he's being pulled around Walmart already within like 2 weeks of being out of the hospital. Poor guy.
He's ready to go,
Oh,
man.
He didn't want to.
Oh, he didn't want to go to Walmart. Oh no.
I would
that's
love to go to a Walmart, man. That'd be hilarious.
Oh.
It's just a store.
It's like a rite of passage.
It is truly an American experience. We can definitely tell you that, Andy.
Very much so.
All right, everyone. So today we're going to be talking about Phantasy Star for the Sega Master System, released in 1987 in Japan and 1988 in the US, and then for some reason 1991 in Brazil.
But Brazil really likes Sega, and
Yeah,
they probably
Sega
didn't
Master
get.
System
Yeah.
stuck around for a long time in Brazil, as far
There's
as
an
I
interesting
know.
history there, yeah.
And I think the Genesis is still being made down there.
Yeah.
That wouldn't surprise me one bit. All right, so this is an RPG game, right? So
Can
I
you
want to
explain to us what an RPG game is?
role playing game. We all know what RPG game is, okay? Uh, so today I want to spend some time talking about RPGs in general. I got some questions for the guys that I want to ask and stuff. And the main reason I want to spend this time having a big discussion about RPGs is because I'm going to tell you this is probably the last RPG that we're going to cover on the show. I love RPG games. They're a
That's
lot
a
of
lie.
fun. No, I like them. I do. Okay. But for what we're trying to do here, it's so hard to just finish one.
Yep.
Like I only have so much time. I have a job. I have 7 children. Okay. RPGs are great. I love them. But man, it's so hard to get through an entire one to give you guys a true proper review of the game. So for a while, I'm gonna hold off on the RPGs that we cover. It's gonna be a while. So let's
Excluding
enjoy. Yeah, Pokemon doesn't count. That's more of an adventure game, as far as I'm concerned. Adventure RPGs don't count. So Zelda is still on the
Let's
table.
say no more
Chrono Trigger would still
30
be on
to
the
100
table.
hour RPGs, please.
Yeah, but games like this, we're gonna have to separate these out quite a bit.
Yeah.
But with that, let's get into it. And the first thing I want to ask you guys, just a general question, and I'll go ahead and answer first because I didn't give you guys a heads up. But I just want to know what do you guys think are your top 3 favorite RPGs? Now they don't have to be the best RPG. It's not anything like that. Just your favorite ones that you like that you've played and probably beat. Spent the time. So I'll go first with mine. Number 1 for me is Final Fantasy 6. Like, man, if you've ever followed me on Twitter, you know how much I love that game. It's my absolute favorite. Number 2 is Rogue Galaxy for the PS2. Man, that is a fantastic game. That is everything that Final Fantasy 12 should have been. Like, if you haven't played it, go check it out. It's really good. And then my third favorite is Mario RPG. I love that game to death. Like, that is just such an awesome game. I played the original as a kid. I had it, played through it, beat it. I got that new version. It's wonderful. Such a wonderful game. So, Nick, I'm gonna pitch it to you first, man. Give me your top 3
That's
RPGs.
way too hard. Crap. I definitely my favorite. That's not a lot of people's favorite is Final Fantasy VIII. 100% have probably more playthroughs of that than any other RPG. Because who doesn't love trading cards and being able to just go around dueling people throughout the game? Then let's see here. Man, Secret of Mana, definitely. And now it's just like, what are all the other ones that are just amazing? Let's see here. Super Mario RPG, Chrono Trigger, Xenogears,
He said 3.
Final Fantasy 11, and if you want an MMO in there,
Nick really loves
Final
MMOs
Fantasy
don't count.
Tactics.
MMOs aren't RPGs. No, they don't count.
I definitely love a lot of RPGs.
So basically,
there you go.
got a lot of love for RPGs. You love RPG games. Would you say that's your favorite? Your favorite genre of all games?
First person shooter is probably my favorite genre. Next, action based RPGs. Yeah, probably.
Okay. All right. Andy, you got a top 3, man?
Oh, Final Fantasy 8, Final Fantasy 7, and Chrono Trigger. That's as simple as that. Anything other than that sucks.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy 8 rocks. I don't care what anyone says. Final Fantasy 8 absolutely freaking rules. And it was awesome when it came out, and it's awesome now. And anyone that hates it is just wrong. I don't give a shit.
Has some of the best soundtracks in
that
RPG.
game is beautiful. It's beautiful. It sounds amazing. The soundtrack is friggin' legendary. And it's got some of the best settings in any RPG ever. I just love traveling the world.
The shit,
I swear
Ragnarok?
to God, like, yeah. I'm
God,
like
so
you.
fun.
I've probably spent more time in that game than any other game. Just fucking around. Like, it's crazy.
Wow. I didn't care for it.
Well, that's what a lot of people
we're
say.
playing it next month.
But no,
next year.
here's the thing. Here's the thing about Final Fantasy VIII, okay? It's not a bad game. I don't think it's a bad game at all. It's not.
It's the best game.
It's not a bad game by any means, but when I compare it to the other Final Fantasies, I don't like it as much as the other ones. That's it. It's not a bad game at all. Like, it's
Right to be wrong.
It's cool. It's weird.
You weren't an angsty teen like us and enjoyed all the angsty teenage things in it.
I was literally like the key demographic for that game. That's why I love it so much. It was pointed right at me.
I
bought that game hook, line, and sinker.
The graphics from 7 to 8 is a pretty big jump, especially.
That's an understatement.
System.
Yeah,
you know, like, it's literally the same system, and
they added hands,
made it way more details in that one.
and they blink. Oh wait, no, they blinked in 7 as well, didn't they?
I think so.
Yeah, I think so.
Yes, we can call it blinking.
Eight just had so much. Oh my god.
Let me ask you another question here. All right, what was your guys' first RPG that you ever played? So mine was Swords and Serpents on the NES. Okay, and that is like kind of similar to the dungeon crawling in Phantasy Star that we're going to talk about later. It's just like that, but the entire game is like that. And you get 4 characters. You can choose wizard or thief or warrior, and it's pretty cool. But it's just a dungeon crawler. You don't see your characters. You just see the enemy sprites on the screen, and you attack and stuff. But you can roll for stats when you start. I don't know. It's pretty cool. It's pretty extensive, but major flaw of that game is the password system. You have a password for the dungeon, and then you have a password for each character.
Oh no! I already don't want to play that.
Yeah, I hate password systems to begin with.
So this was one of those games I'd mentioned before. How my dad was a truck driver and would just bring me, games off the road. This was one of those games. So it had no manual or anything. Like, I just had to roll with it, and I never got very far. But recently, I was like, man, I really missed that game. Like, I want that, and I bought a CIB copy off of eBay, and it came with the book and everything. It came with grid paper inside the book, so you could map out all the dungeons. Yeah, and somebody already beat it and used all the grid paper, so all the maps. But now I have a guide if I ever want to actually beat the game. So, Andy, let's go to you this time, man. Do you remember your very first RPG game that you played?
You'll never guess what it was.
Final
Final
Fantasy
Fantasy VIII.
It's Phantasy Star.
8?
Yeah.
It
Oh,
all
man.
makes sense now.
It's funny because like one of the memories I have is like trying to visualize what I was seeing on screen. So it was like the first time I'd ever seen that kind of RPG style with little characters and trying to make out what things are on the screen. So you'd be on your little main screen and then you go to the map and you'd be like, why is everything tiny? What are these little? Are they trees? Is that water? It's the first time where I ever had to like actually put in my mind into that frame of thought and be like, oh, and like try and make things out of the little shapes that were on the screen. So
Which
that's
is
why I
weird
remember it a
because
lot.
the graphics are great on that versus most RPGs
I know,
of that
right?
era.
Yeah, yeah. Oh man. But yeah, this was my first one.
So Fantasy Star. What a way to get introduced into RPGs.
Well, I mean, I went from Phantasy Star to Final Fantasy VII, so it was quite a leap. But I
is
remember actually
definitely a leap.
playing Final Fantasy VII, being like, "Hey, this is like that other game, Phantasy Star," because none of the other Final Fantasies came out in Australia. It was just straight to 7. So it was like, what happened to the other 6?
Or Australia. No
Yeah.
internet and no games.
No.
That's terrible. What a terrible. Nick,
Help
Nick,
me!
your first RPG.
Trying to think. I surprisingly I don't think I had any on the NES back then. Granted, because parents bought games. I think the first one would have been either Secret of Mana or Mystic Quest, if anyone remembers that. Final
Ooh.
Fantasy.
Hmm.
The American Final Fantasy, which so yeah, it was the first one I got because I didn't care for it too much. I was like, what is this? And I exchanged it with my bus driver for the year, and
That's
No,
she
I
your
remember
old
played
this.
bus
that,
driver.
and then and I played that, and yeah, that's how I fell in love with RPGs in general there, but that was more approachable to me because it was more like Zelda at the time.
Yeah, that makes sense. Makes sense. So, do you guys feel like there's any unknown RPGs that y'all have played that maybe other people might not have heard of or aren't on the up about?
I
Because
think we already did
It's a good
one. It was
question.
Final Fantasy Adventures.
yeah, I feel like people know about that one.
You're
Oh,
crazy.
I've got one.
No
I've got
one
one.
knows that one.
I got one that
What do
like
you got? What do you
is semi-popular, but I don't know if many people are into it. But when I played it, I thought it was amazing. Golf Story. Did you play Golf Story?
Oh yeah, that golf
That
RPG.
game ruled. Yeah, that was absolutely unexpected, like awesomeness. And I don't hear many people talking about it. I love that thing.
You say golf story.
It's just
Mhm.
Golf Story. Yeah,
No,
yeah.
I haven't.
It's a little gem. That one.
What's that on? I'll have to look up now. I haven't-
Nintendo Switch. It was one of the first games on the store. That's why I played it, because there was nothing to play.
Well, I played one game on the PS3, and I don't know how well known it is, but have you guys ever heard of White Knight Chronicles 1 and 2
Sounds familiar, but
on
probably not.
PS3? Man,
I never played any PlayStation 3 games.
Oof.
massive game. I never got to finish it. I played it while I worked there, but I never saw
You
that
played-
many copies move.
Did,
So,
did you play it while you were working there?
yes,
Like while you were actually working?
yes.
Nice.
See, GameStop has this policy where if you're an employee there, you can check out video games to take home and play, for a few days, so that way you can tell customers about them.
That's awesome.
That applies to new games too. So when you guys go to GameStop and they say like, "Here's a new game," and it's opened and in a sleeve,
Ah,
yeah, that was
bastards.
Yeah, somebody checked that one out, or it was the display copy because they got to open up a few cases to put on display. They don't just send empty cases; they
Yeah.
have to open the games and put them on the shelf. So don't get too offended if you get that. technically a new game. It's never been sold.
It's never been sold. Yeah.
So it's new, you know. Nick, any unknowns? Did you answer that? You got any?
I mean, Final Fantasy Adventure for
Yeah.
me. I mean that one I never heard anyone really play up until we talked about it before. I don't know. There's a bunch of little tiny games. Like was it did it you guys play any of the original Monster Rancher games?
Yeah, I think I played the one on PlayStation, and that was pretty
Yeah.
good.
I
Never got
don't
to
hear a
play
lot.
that one.
Never heard a lot of people play Monster Rancher.
No.
It's kind of like Pokemon before Pokemon.
I like Digimon as well.
Or yeah, Digimon kind of. Yeah. There was a tower that you had to fight through, if I remember correctly. It's been a long time. But yeah, no, here's one for you. How many people have heard of RPG Maker? But for
Oh, yeah.
PlayStation.
Yeah.
Is that an actual game, or is that literally
Yeah.
like a program you use to make RPGs?
You
It's-
make
it's
RPGs, but
everything.
on the PlayStation.
Like
It's so
PS1?
cool.
Yeah, for the original PlayStation 1, that was the original RPG Maker.
Did you see the Fighter
Oh.
Maker, Nick?
Nah.
Have you seen Fighter Maker? They have a Fighter Maker too on PS1 also.
Fighter Maker? No, I don't
Yeah,
think
you
I've.
can. Yeah, they got RPG Maker
Oh,
and there's a
I
Fighter Maker for
yeah.
PS1. I haven't played Fighter Maker. I want to.
That'd be interesting, actually. Yeah.
Oh man, that could be so fun.
I
But,
remember
dude,
seeing the
RPG
box
Maker
art
was
and then
cool.
never picked it up because I saw the box art.
You judged
did-
that book by its cover.
I definitely did, and probably for good reason.
That RPG Maker though, man, if you don't have the keyboard,
If you don't have the
It's
keyboard or
impossible.
enough freaking memory cards,
yeah.
that thing used so many memory. There's so many memory blocks.
How many cards on average, you reckon?
I don't remember. I can look it up
Just-
while we're here.
I think it took a whole memory card. to
Yeah.
get
Oh
in
my
there.
god! Wow. Okay.
Like the
Well,
whole
yeah, I mean, you're
15
putting a
blocks.
whole game on it.
Yeah,
so.
you're basically
wow.
making
Yeah, yeah.
an RPG, and it's really cool. Like they put a lot of detailed stuff in there that you can do. It's impressive, man. And if you got the time, you can make a pretty cool game. But like I said, you really need that keyboard. Otherwise, you're trying to type out all the dialogue. You know, it's like
Oh my god.
yeah, it's not fun. So, do you guys have a favorite villain from RPG games?
Ooh. Good question.
I'll tell you mine. It's Final Fantasy VI. Kefka, whatever you want, however you want to pronounce it. He's a bastard. You know, a lot of bad guys talk about destroying the world. This guy actually does it. Like he pulls it off. So, spoiler alert if you haven't played that game. And yeah, he's mean. Like I don't remember too many guys poisoning children, you know, and stuff. So
My man.
guy is wild, man. Dude, like I've never seen a villain like that. Like it makes me wonder, like, how did this game not get an M rating? Like he literally
Stuff
is
used to slide under the radar
mass
like that.
genocide. Mass genocide.
But
is
it
key
was
for everyone.
in pixels, so no one really
Yeah.
cared.
Didn't count. Yeah.
Until
about-
everything became 3D, then people started freaking out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It became believable.
What about you, Andy? Do you got a favorite villain from RPGs?
Right. Yeah, it's a toss up between two, but they're from the same game. So it's either Revolver Ocelot or Liquid Snake. I think those two, or if you're really adventurous, both of them
What-
combined in the sequel.
What RPG is that from?
Oh, RPG. I thought you just said game in general. You
He's
just said bad guy, right?
Yeah, the villain from an RPG, but
Villain from an RPG. Well, that's
hard to
different.
argue with that. That guy's pretty
That's-
bad.
that's different. I mean, it's
I was
kind
like,
of an
wait,
RPG.
Metal Gear Acid?
Oh God, no.
I love that game. Come on now, it's a deck building game. Who doesn't like that?
Yeah, no, not me.
Yeah, I didn't play that one either. Nope.
Great PSP game.
I'm trying to think. It was a good bad guy. RPG.
I mean, well, you played only 3, so
Yeah. Yeah, but they're not quite. I'm not trying to. I'm trying to think of one that's really sort of blown me away as much as like the ones I just said. They're not really coming to me. I mean, they're good. They're functional bad guys, but they're not like what's his? God, my brain is just not working.
What about
I
you,
don't know.
Nick? You got
You go
got
first,
one,
Nick. Yeah, come back to me later.
It's what's her name? Is it Ultimisia or is it Adele?
No, she's not a good bad guy.
She freaking is resetting the world.
Eh.
Just when she murders Squall in the
Your
very
whole
like
party.
first act in that video. Oh my god, that was like traumatizing to me as a child. What are you talking about?
It was pretty crazy when he got he copped the
He gets freaking ice
spear to the chest. It was
chest,
like,
and
oh,
you're like,
that's
is
a
that
short
the
game.
game? Please
That's
insert
pretty
disc
brutal.
2. You're like, what the fuck?
It's Aerith all over again. Oh god.
Yeah, exactly. But it's the main character this time.
Oh great. I paid so much money for this game. It's over. What's on the other 2 discs?
Well, I was like, well, who do you play as now? Because you're dead.
I've heard a theory that the rest of the game is just a dream. Like
I have as
Yeah.
well.
supposed to be in the
that's
afterlife or something like that.
pretty common one, yeah.
I've heard a theory, but theory.
Fine, Bowser. Jeez, come on.
It's a classic.
Smitty from Mario RPG. Okay, so I got just
Well,
one more.
No,
one more.
We're
What?
still
What?
waiting for Andy. Andy, come on.
I'll double down on that one because that's that just reminded me, jogged my memory. But I always thought that is it Cypher or Cipher? I always used to call him Cipher, and then I started calling him Cypher.
I always called him Cypher, but yeah, I mean he's kind of an asshole.
Yeah, because some of his lines stick in my mind, like when he calls people a chicken wuss. So that's pretty bad. I think I'll vote for him. that's always stuck with me. He's just such a dick. Like, such an
he is just
unnecessary
a dick the entire time, and I don't even know what the motivation of him being a dick, just to be a dick.
Yeah, I'm safe with that one. I'll choose him.
Very good.
Cracks me up.
All right, I got just one more question here for you guys, but it's kind of important. So, which one do you prefer? Turn-based or action RPG?
Turn-based.
Didn't even have to think.
That was my turn to speak.
I believe I already answered that, but action, personally, or at least some sort of like timed, response. So cooldown based as well are my 2 favorite type.
So Secret of Mana.
Secret of Mana would be the more like action based ones, but also like Final Fantasy VIII and Final Fantasy VII, which are like the turns still happen, so you need to like still act, right? So
Right.
Versus say like Final Fantasy original one or whatever, you just can sit there and not do anything, just leave the controller down, right, and come back.
I love that. I love being able to do that.
I like being stressed in my tactics, that's all.
I love to be able to stop and just just think things out and be like, oh god, what now? Take my time.
Like the active, like in Final Fantasy VI, how it's an active turn-based.
Yeah, that's what I was mean. The active.
Yeah, that's what it. Yeah, so we're on the same page. I kind of like the same thing as you, Nick. I like the good little active turn-based.
Yeah, I like being pressured for my moves. That's why board game nights, I hate some friends because they take forever because they want to make the most optimal freaking move.
Right.
Like, no, putting you on a timer. You get 60 seconds.
Oh god, no, that pressure, that my brain just stops working.
Good, it's better for me.
It makes the battles more exciting that way, when they keep moving and you got to make decisions on the fly. I like that. I like that a lot better. Yes,
same.
I would agree. All right. Is there any last things you guys want to say about RPGs before we can this topic for a while? Because now's the time. Anything? Y'all
Well,
got
I
anything?
used to just call them RPGs, but now everyone calls them JRPGs. Am I wrong?
Well, it just depends on if they're a JRPG or not. A
But
JRPG
there's
is different
is it?
than
Okay, educate us on that, Nick, because
Yeah.
I've heard that a lot and I never cared to learn the difference. So
So-
please enlighten me.
well,
Just
so
RPGs.
well, so generally a JRPG is generally from Japan, and there's a lot more like time sinks involved. So like your original like Dragon Warriors and Dragon Quests, Final Fantasies, the older ones, and now when you speed it up into like PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, you had those ones that have like 100-hour plus like playthrough times. Um, you don't usually see those in just standard like North American or European RPGs. So generally those are just called RPGs. A JRPG just kind of refers to it's going to be a turn-based kind of thing. It's going to have a lot of grinding in it of some sort, and usually has lots of hours. That's my understanding. The big difference between an RPG and a JRPG.
Well, now I know.
So Rogue Galaxy is probably a JRPG. Hmm. Maybe.
I like it.
You have to play that. Y'all go play that. That's the last thing I want to say about RPGs. If you haven't played Rogue Galaxy, go play that effing game right effing now.
That is on the PlayStation Store as well, I think.
It's $5. It's free on premium. I mean, there's no excuse. It's a beautiful game. It
There
came
is an
out on the
excuse if you don't own one.
PS2. There's no load times between anything. It's really cool. It was like one of the last games to come out for PS2, if I'm not mistaken. So
Hmm.
it's a very high end PS2 game.
Is that one of them rare, expensive ones now?
No. I got a
I mean,
copy. I think
once
it was
this goes
about
live,
$15. Yeah, once the world hears about this and they hear me talking
Yeah,
about it, they're gonna rush to
okay.
it and they're gonna go buy it up. Uh,
Put on your seatbelts, trendsetters. About to,
all
about to
8
soar.
listeners.
get it while you can. Yes, all 12 of you. Thank you so much. Just kidding. There's so many more than 12. Okay. I
There's
think that
13.
I think that about does it. Are you good? We good? All right. I'll take that as a yes.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
I'm good.
Let's move on to Phantasy Star for the Sega Master
Yay.
System. Whoop. But of course, before we get into our review, let's do it. Hit the music, Nick.
Did you know? Did you know? Did you know? Did you know? The pool guy wants to know if you know. So did you friggin' know? Did you know?
All things, did you know? Phantasy Star for the Sega Master System. Got a short one here for you, but I feel like it's pretty good. So, number one, did you know there is a PS2 remake released only in Japan called the Sega Ages 2500 Gen 1 Phantasy Star? Andy, I showed that to you, man. Tell me what you thought
Yeah.
about that. That was
I was actually
pretty
just
slick.
thinking right now, is there an official translation for that or a fan translation? Because I really, really want to check that out. I
I
had
have
no idea
not.
that thing
I have
existed.
have not seen a translation yet.
Because the video you showed me, they were speaking English. So I was like, ooh, okay, that must
Yeah,
be a
it's-
translation, like a patch.
Pretty amazing looking too. Like,
Yeah.
talk about doing a remake right. Like, I only
Yeah, I
got
know,
to
right?
watch some videos on that, but man, dude, wow.
Yeah.
Wow, man. Seriously.
I'm
that's all I
surprised
can
that
say.
version's not on the store. Like, what are they
Yeah,
doing?
what happened?
Was it all 4 of them? Like, of
It-
the early ones? Or is it
I
just the
don't know.
first
Nick
one?
Nick might have to pull that up. I think I saw a collection as well,
What
but
was it
I'm
called
not
again?
sure if it's the same thing. So it's called the Sega Ages 2500 Gen 1 Phantasy Star for PS2. But
Okay,
I
yeah, I
believe
see.
there's a collection version also. So there might be 2.
That's the reason why it probably didn't come out here is because the freaking name is so long.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
There is a translation of it though.
Like an official one?
That I don't know. I just pulled up a YouTube video and immediately it's in English. So I'm assuming.
Yeah, that's the one I showed him. I
What-
tell you,
I-
listeners, if y'all haven't, y'all need to go look this one up. If you played
Yeah,
the
I'm
original
definitely getting that.
Phantasy Star, go look up this version of the game and see if you can get your hands on a copy because you're gonna love it. I promise. Promise. All right. Number 2. Did you know the original story for Phantasy Star had 4 planets instead of 3? But they had to save space on the cartridge, so they cut it. And
No.
there's no 4th planet. Yeah, that's a shame. Always sucks when that happens, you know? You hear these cool
Yeah.
things about like with the Godzilla game, they had the extra monsters, you know, and stuff, or like all these secret levels and everything in other games. And it sucks because a lot of times they leave that crap in the coding. So it's like, well, if it's there, why didn't you just make it work? But I don't
Wasn't that
know. That's
was that
out of
why
my
like
wheelhouse.
the cartridge was like notoriously expensive because of how much size it was. So to cut it off, like imagine how much more expensive it would have been if they'd made a cartridge that
Yeah.
could fit it. Oh
Yeah,
my
good
God.
point. Very good point. Which actually, that's good lead right into number 3.
Well,
Did
before
you
you go,
know?
I have an answer for you. So
Yeah.
the Ages collection had Phantasy Star Generation 1 and 2, and the Complete collection, which is also on the PSN and PlayStation 3. So if you want to probably try to look up the Complete collection for it looks like it was only released in Japan, so it's gonna have to be, yeah, that's from what it looks like. Only Japan release, unfortunately.
Okay.
But so it's on Japan PSN. No.
Yep. That's what I'm
Ah.
seeing here. So yeah, I mean, take a look, but I'm not 100% sure.
Boo
I'm
Japan,
just going off
boo.
what's on the website here. But yeah, that's what I'm seeing.
All right. Well,
Unfortunately,
good luck
but
out there,
it
folks.
was 2,500 yen when it was released. Ooh,
What's
800
that in
yen.
dollary dues?
That would have been roughly $25, but like now
Oh.
the yen's in the toilet, so it's like, I don't know, probably $15 now.
Oh man, I got to
Wow.
exploit that.
All right. Last one, number 3. Did you know Phantasy Star was the most expensive Master System game? It was $69.99 in the US and as high as $80 in other stores. When the Master System had a price cut, the game was only $10 less than the system itself. So
Rough.
if your parents bought you a Phantasy Star, I just want to say, rich kid,
No, rich kid, and you better have played the crap out of that game.
you better have
yeah,
enjoyed
man.
that. Your parents
Get your
loved
money's
you.
worth.
Yeah, unbelievable.
That's
Okay,
that's incredible.
Nick, how's your math, buddy? I just want to know, what is that
What?
adjusted for inflation? If it was $80 in freaking 1988, how much would that game have been today? Other people at home are yelling at me right now, like, you idiot, you don't know math.
$210.
Wow. Who's gonna buy a $210 game today? Raise your hand.
Yeah.
Raise
Oh
your
my
hand.
God.
Anybody?
I
Anybody?
mean, I have
Nick,
a
you
lot
don't
of money
count.
in
You
Star
don't. You
Citizen.
don't count. Nick doesn't count.
Has the game even come out yet?
No, and I'm well over $2,000 in that game.
Wow. Holy crap. Wow. I don't know how the hell
All
I got my
right.
hands on a copy as a kid, because I had a copy of Phantasy Star, but it wasn't ours. It was like a friend lent it to us, and we just had it for ages. And then one day I finally just started playing it. So, like, I didn't know. Like, that
I
kid
bet
must have
his
been worth a
parents
lot
were
of money.
so mad.
Oh,
His
wow,
parents must have been so mad. You gave that
Those-
game away.
Man, I had a copy of it, and my mum sold the system and got rid of it. Like that, I think they're worth like $900 now.
Oh, I
Loose.
bet,
Wow.
because no one bought it. Some people stole it apparently, but no one bought
Derek, we're looking at you.
I didn't have a Master System, otherwise I probably would.
Oh.
Well, I was just referring to your friend that you took it from, but you know.
Oh man. All right. That was all I got for the Did You Know? So I hope you all enjoyed that. Let's get into our review. All right. For those of you who've been around for a while, you know how we do this, but for the first timers, this is how it's gonna go. We're gonna talk about the music, we'll talk about the graphics, and we'll talk about our gameplay experiences. And then yeah. So let's get that started with the music first. Nick, I'm gonna put you on the spot, buddy. You go first here, man. Tell me your thoughts on the music for Phantasy Star.
It's decent. I mean, I never actually had a Master System until my was it 6 months ago. So I've not even had a chance to even play it on real hardware. I've only emulated it ever. So from the emulation, sounds pretty good.
Pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, like
Yeah. Yeah.
it's slow, like every note, but I mean, it's okay. It's an RPG.
All right. Yeah. Andy, your opinions on the music. You grew
yeah,
up on
so
this one, so
I did, yeah. And it was one of the things when I was playing the Sega Ages version on the Switch that I actually could play around with in the settings. You can get the I think there's an FM version and like a normal version, and they sound very different.
Yeah.
But I agree with Nick. It's an okay soundtrack. It's like uh, it's like the early days. It's like a proto RPG soundtrack. It's a soundtrack, but it's not quite effective as a soundtrack. You know what I mean? Like it's got this really up tempo sort of menu music, but it kind of doesn't really sort of match the theme of the game. It's just,
Yeah.
it's like, hey, it's a game. We're gonna play a game. Yeah, it's not like it's epic quest sort of music, but I mean, it has its moments. Like the battle music's okay. It's a little bit repetitive. Sometimes you go through a dungeon and you're like, it gets a little bit intense and it pumps you up. You're like, oh yeah, we're in the dungeon. Right? Do some fighting. Yeah. But for the most part, it's pretty. It's like a 5 out of 10 soundtrack to me.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's very.
It's not forgettable, but it's not like I wouldn't be chucking it on the CD player. You know what I mean?
yeah, that's kind of feel the same way. It's okay. It's not bad. It's not ear piercing. It's not Game Boy music.
How dare
It's pretty good. It's all right. It fits. I didn't think it
serviceable.
was unfitting for the
Yeah.
game. Like I thought it matched up okay, but also I didn't know what the hell I was doing at the time. So the music seemed right. I did like the dungeon music. I thought that was cool until
Yeah.
I started getting lost, and then I'm like, okay, I don't,
Yeah.
I don't want to hear this music.
Where's your
anymore.
graph paper now?
The music in the town, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. It's kind of circusy, I would say. Yeah,
It's weird, man. It's
yeah,
not
it's a
normal.
little circus music.
It's like they said, hey, compose a soundtrack for being in a town now. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, it's okay. I would, yeah, it's not like Andy said, it's not anything I'm gonna put in the CD player either. I wouldn't listen to it, but it's there. It's all right. I got a 10ish, maybe a 6. I give it a 6. I'll be
Person
generous.
showed up, they recorded
Be
the
generous.
soundtrack.
Yeah, they
It's
did
in the
it.
game.
It's there. It's all right. Okay. I think we'll have some better opinions about this next one though. Let's get into the graphics. And this time, Andy, we'll start with you, man. Tell
Oh yeah,
me
give him the easy one.
how you feel about the graphics.
Graphics are great, actually. I mean, like I was saying before about how it was my first RPG, and so there were moments I vividly remember moments as a kid being like, "What is that I'm looking at?" Like my mind just couldn't make sense of the shapes that I was seeing because everything's in that RPG style where they have to sort of make it small so that the memory sort of fits and all that sort of crap. You know how it is. And like I vividly remember being like, "What is that on the screen?" Like you'd be fighting a monster. It's like I don't know what it is, but there's a whipping motion going across the screen. I guess I'm attacking it. Okay, yeah, cool. But other than that, like it's great. It's for an 8-bit machine. It looks beautiful. Big popping green textures and things like that for the land and the water. And there's some spots where like if you go near the coast and you sort of press A and it takes you to the menu. It gives you that first person view of where you are, and the ocean like sparkles and stuff like that, and it looks beautiful.
It's so pretty.
It's really good. Yeah, I'll give it props for that. It really is a nice looking game for an 8-bit console.
All right. How about you, Nick? You got some thoughts on our graphics for Phantasy Star?
I mean, they're phenomenal for the era. They
Yeah.
are insanely good. There's nothing on the NES that can compare, in my opinion. And it probably just from how much money those ROMs probably cost to put in that like for 88. Oh my god, everything is beautiful in that game. For like I can't think of a better looking game I've seen from that type of just like the backdrops and everything. They're basically PC DOS like graphics at the time.
Yeah.
Like they're that good.
Yeah. So here's my thoughts on the graphics. It looks pretty. It looks really pretty. Like it's impressive.
The sprite work on all the freaking monsters is insane.
Yeah.
But I'll say this: it's easy to make it look that pretty when everything is a still picture.
But man, they even have animations for all the
yes,
monster attacks.
They do
and
have
stuff.
some animations for the monster attacks, which look really cool.
Like
the
when you fight the
backgrounds, like you
ghoul,
said,
his
are-
mouth
are
opens and he
awesome.
drools. That's really sweet.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That is pretty cool. And like you said, that those little worm things that actually like reach out and attack you. I thought that was pretty cool. Graphically, yeah, it looks cool, but at the same time, I'm like,
the dungeons.
Everything is still.
Oh yeah, man! Like how could we forget about that? The first person in the dungeons.
Again, it's really like a DOS adventure game, like
It
but on a
reminded
console.
me of the screensaver on the old.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I mean, like I remember my first thought was like, oh, it's Wolfenstein.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah,
Where's
like
my gun?
But you
Oh,
gotta
was I
remember this is
disappointed?
88. 88.
Yeah.
Yeah,
well,
that's
it's
super
impressive.
impressive.
Yeah.
It really is. Yeah, that's those dungeons are what I think are the coolest part of the whole game. Like
Well, that's
I
debatable.
wish. Well, I mean graphics wise, not gameplay wise. We'll get into that nonsense later. But
Yeah, man.
but the way it looks when you go down in there, and yeah, it just reminded me of, like you said, a computer. It's like a computer game on a
The
console.
cut scenes going into
Yeah.
shops, like the sprite work is just I'm dumbfounded on how they got it, all that, but I guess that's why the cartridge was $80.
Yeah.
My only complaint about the graphics would be on the world map. The other people, they all look the same and they're all stationary.
That's
A
really
little bit
racist.
janky.
Well, they do look all the same and they don't move.
There's a
literally the
diverse
same
cast of
sprite.
characters in this game. It's not racist.
He
I
said
do
they
like
look the
how they
same.
made the guards look like stormtroopers, though. That was pretty sweet.
Yeah, that was pretty sweet. Yeah.
But this game is, I should have put this in the Did You Know, but it's heavily influenced by Star Wars. They wanted to, Dragon Warrior came out, and this was Sega's response to it. So they were like, okay, let's do it, but let's make it space like Star Wars. So you're gonna see a lot of Star Wars influence in the game. So, anything else about the graphics? Anybody want to say anything else? Well, I think we all agree it's pretty beautiful, especially for the time that it came out.
Yeah,
I mean,
Yeah, it's jaw dropping. It is pretty.
I've never seen a game look that good from 1987. So, pretty
no.
nice. Now, let's get into the gameplay. The meat and potatoes. I'll leave it up to you guys. Who wants to talk first about their gameplay experience?
Let me go first because I had the least amount of experience with it as someone had. He could talk it up later, but I mean, if you do not like the Dragon Warrior style of combat, you're not going to enjoy this at all. It is just Dragon Warrior. Say you don't get to see your party in game. You see the monsters and you attack them, and it's very repetitive over and over again. And that's pretty much it. That's my experience of it. I've never beat the game. I never could get into the Dragon Quest type uh combat systems. I'll leave that to Andy. You can talk their ear off about it.
Go for it, Andy. Tell us about
There's-
your gameplay experience.
There's two frames of mind with the gameplay here. So, the original one is a nightmare. I started off playing the original one, and I don't remember it being so difficult. But there were
Yeah.
many times where I had to start over at the very start of the game. Like, you'd leave town, you would get wiped out immediately in the first encounter.
So Dragon Warrior.
'Cause Yeah, it was just incredibly difficult. Incredibly difficult. Like, it was frustrating to the point where I was like, all right, I'm going to actually have to migrate over to the Aegis version to actually get into this game. And I'm glad I did, because that is the actual way you need to play this game if you want to play Phantasy Star nowadays. You have to play that version. No, I swear to God, man. Like, you'll be ripping your hair out.
You just got to grind out them levels, baby. Got to grind out them
Oh,
levels.
I mean, how could you grind out when the first monster you encounter kills you immediately with its first attack?
You just got to keep grinding.
Who's got time? Who's got time?
Welcome to JRPGs.
No, man, no. Oh, God. But anyway, other than that, once you get over that hurdle, it's fine. My biggest gripe with the gameplay, I don't know if it's a gameplay gripe, to be honest. I mean, the first person combat is a little bit jarring if you're not used to it. Everyone's used to the little Final Fantasy side-on sort of view, but this is first person, so it can be a little bit sort of like off-putting a little bit until you get used to it. The menu, I don't know if it's just because it's a Sega Master System game, but it can be a little bit annoying. Just repetitive, like attack, go down here. Oh, especially when you're in a dungeon and you've got a locked door and you have to keep going A, items, scroll down, dungeon key, A, every time you encounter a dungeon door. It drives me insane. The amount of freaking times you have to do it. But the biggest freaking gripe, I think, and I don't, like I said before, I don't think it's a gameplay gripe per se, but the translation is pretty average. There's a lot of weird, like, translation things going on with this. Like, you walk into the first food store to get your cola and burgers, that kind of thing. There's little translation errors here and there that pop up where you're like, what? I don't get that. But yeah, other than that, I mean, stick to the Aegis version, for the love of God. Hats off to anyone that finished the actual original one. Seriously.
Yeah. Well,
and that person is Derek.
this
Oh God.
game's a nightmare.
Yeah.
It's a nightmare. Oh man. Yeah, same experience here. First time I fired it up, I was like, cool, a little story, some neat graphics. All right, I'm walking around town. Cool. Let me go outside here. Dead. What?
Alice is dead.
What happened? Okay. Let me try that again. Oh, I'm dead again. And then again. I'm like, okay. So
It's not even funny. Like, it's crazy.
so here's what I do. I'm like, okay, this game is gonna be hard. So I spent probably like 3 days with just the girl. What's the main character's name?
Alice.
Alice.
Yep.
So I spent about 3 days just leveling her up.
Yeah.
Like, I went out and I figured out that you can't fight the scorpion. You can't. You gotta wait. Like, there's no way.
Yeah,
It's just gonna kill you. You gotta get a bee. So, so your first time out, you gotta stay in the grass and hope you get a bee. If you're like, or a wasp or whatever it is.
That's
better
exactly how
hope-
it is.
You better hope there's only one. Because
Yeah.
if there's two, you're not gonna beat it.
You're
Okay?
done.
So if you get one and you get lucky, all right, you kill it, and then you run back into town and you go heal. Okay.
Yep.
And then you come back out and you do the same thing. And you do this until you reach about level 6.
It must have taken weeks for kids back in the day to grind this game out.
You know, it must have, because it's incredibly hard.
I'm trying to, like, I don't know. I'm trying to remember. I didn't have too much problem. I mostly had bees.
I swear it's half and half because I don't remember it being so hard when I was a kid. I actually got a fair decent way through it, but then when I started it again recently, I've got a Master System. I played the version of it, and maybe it's a European NTSC kind of thing. Maybe I was playing a different version of it, but it was brutal. It was savage. It's just how
Yeah.
Derek described it. It's just
very
incredible.
unforgiving.
Yeah.
So to go, so I also went ahead and I tried the
Did you
Sega
guys buy
Ages
items
version.
before going out?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
it
mean,
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, man. It's one
I
hit.
stocked up on that premium Cola Burger combo.
Fair. I'm just trying to like. I haven't. It's been a couple weeks, but like I was like, I
The
don't
trick
remember.
is to grind and get some money and go buy the sword.
Well,
buy
yeah.
buy that first sword.
You
But you
guys
gotta
play
get
any
lucky.
of these NES RPGs? Like
No,
ever?
actually.
I played some like Swords and Surfers.
This is
Final
how
Fantasy
Dragon Warrior
1.
is literally just you
It's
save,
savage.
you
Yeah.
kill, you save, you kill.
Yeah.
You
I
just
don't
do
remember-
that for hours.
I don't remember the first Final Fantasy being this brutal though.
No, Final Fantasy was not that brutal. Dragon Warrior was, and Dragon Warrior
Yeah.
2 and 3 are way worse.
Oh my god, man.
Well, this one's
You-
right up there, man. Because like,
Yeah. Oh man.
so more about the gameplay. I got the Sega Ages version of the game as well, and I was looking through the manual and stuff. And this game is actually pretty broken. If you if you go into certain dungeons and you don't have like an escape potion or,
Yeah.
or
You're
a
done.
spell, you're done. You're trapped in there. That's it. Reset the game and start from your last save spot because that's it.
You didn't
You can
draw your
also-
path.
If you do something wrong, like there's certain parts of the game, if you do it wrong, you screwed up and you can't finish the game.
Yeah. Have multiple
Like there's
saves.
certain items. There's certain items if you miss or if you use it in the wrong spot, you're done. Like that's it. You won't be able to finish the game. Sorry. Nice try.
I just recently heard a story about a guy that he got stuck somewhere and he had to teleport and it took him to another planet, and because he didn't have a certain item, he couldn't actually leave the planet. He was stuck there for the whole game and basically had to start over again, and he was way deep into the game, and I was like, oh man, I know that game.
So wrong.
I mean I was playing through Dragon Warrior 3 a few years ago, and I remember early on in the game I actually got stuck because I got poisoned, and wherever I already saved, and I thought I could go into the town and like go to the church or whatever to get rid of the poison. Nope, you just kept dying, and I had no way of getting
They didn't
back.
do it?
Nope. Yeah, I had to get back to the other town that had
Oh,
the
because you have
antidote.
to like buy an antidote or something like that.
Yep. Yeah, and
So
so
the church won't heal poison.
no, if my memory serves, no, I was literally stuck.
Oh yeah,
I
you have
had
to die.
Yeah, and it's
Oh, man.
brutal. So now you die because now you saved at the church area, right? Now you, I believe, only have one person alive. Then you have to go back out, and now you're surrounded by like those wasps that poison you again. So you're just kind of stuck. Or hope the RNG did not give you a wasp to poison you again. Anyways, that is just the theme of these type of games. So that's why I just kind of.
Final Fantasy VII was so good. I went from Phantasy Star to Final Fantasy VII. No wonder I love that game so much.
Yeah, or early Dragon Warrior type. These kind of games were just brutal.
Yeah,
brutal.
this one is definitely unforgiving. And the other thing I didn't care for about with the gameplay is trying to figure out where you're supposed to go.
Yes, that's a big
Okay.
one.
You
I
have
forgot
to
about
talk
that.
to the
Yeah.
people in the town, obviously,
Everyone.
like any other RPG game, but the information that they give you is so scattered.
Because
and
of the
doesn't make
translation
any
errors.
sense. Like there's just little bits and pieces, and you literally have to take like 4 different things that some people say and put
God, I
them
want you
together
guys to play
figure out
Dragon
where you're
Warrior
going.
3 so bad right now.
We are not playing any more
Oh,
RPGs for a
just
long
that.
time.
You
Just
you
put it out of your head. It's gone. This is it.
And forever.
oh, with no strategy guides. Oh, let me. It is
Oh,
way worse than this.
no thanks.
Yeah, I tried to do this with no strategy guide because that's
Yeah.
how I try to play the games. I try to play them like they were back in the day, like how it would have been. And I don't know if I would have played this for very long, man. I mean, I guess maybe I would have because it's one of those things you play what you have. You only had so
Yeah.
many games as a kid, so you
You'd
kind
get
of have
bored
to
enough
figure
sooner
it
or later.
out.
And for $200, your parents would stick your ass in front
Yeah.
of it.
Yeah, no kidding. So, but okay, the gameplay's not all bad. There are a couple things, well, really just one thing that I thought was pretty cool that I hadn't seen in other games yet of that time. And it's when you're fighting, like I got to the desert planet. It kind of looks like Texas, I think. And I went outside the town and I got into a fight with this a bandit, right? Or something like
Oh,
that.
I know what you're gonna say. Yeah.
Yeah. And so you have an option to talk. And I was just like,
Yes.
let me try this. And you talk to it. And it said, I'm so sorry. We're outcast. I didn't mean it. And it ran away. And I was
Yeah.
like, what? Like,
Yeah.
that felt really ahead of his time. Like, okay, that's really cool. Like, so I don't have to get killed by everything.
I
there's a
discovered
way
that
out.
by accident.
Yeah, by
I
accident.
accidentally pressed talk, and then the guy ran off, and it was all over. And I was like, "Hell,
You
I've
know
been
where that
doing
came?
this whole time."
You know where that came from?
Let me guess. Dragon.
Yeah, Dragon War.
Dragon
Damn
Warrior?
you.
The in Dragon Warrior, you actually had to I think even use stairs and use talk and you had a
Oh,
command
wow.
list to do everything on the top down world map view. Really
Yeah, we're never playing
annoying.
that.
Oh yeah, that's why I'm
that is
like you
never
guys are
happening.
spoiled with this one so far. Let me tell you.
Look, shitty.
This is the easy version of Dragon Warrior.
Yeah, it is way prettier too.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Man. So yeah, I barely got anywhere in this game. I figured out the passport thing by luck.
Yeah.
Just by pure luck. I just kept bothering the guy. He's like, secrets. I got
Yeah, I know,
I'm
right?
like,
Yeah.
okay, well, just tell me the damn secret because I'm lost.
I've been everywhere. I've spoken to everyone. I haven't clicked this option. But you got to do it twice.
Three
Three
times.
times.
Three
Who
times.
does
You have
that?
to go in
Is
and
that
out
how
3
bored
times.
you have to be? You have to do it 3 times, and then the third time it works, and you're like, "Oh my
It
god, I
makes
can't believe that worked."
no sense. It
What
makes
kind of
no sense.
gameplay decision is that?
I don't understand. This is like it's like they put all the time in the graphics, and then
Yeah.
they were like, "What? Oh yeah, we have to
Literally
make
all
it
the time.
gameplay."
I wonder if in the Japanese version it's different, and in the English version it works out to be that you have to ask them 3 times, but in the Japanese version the translation is like, it makes more sense that you talk
I
to them
would
3
hope
times.
so.
Like I would like to think that was something lost in translation where they didn't explain it.
We'll give it the benefit of the doubt and say
Yeah.
that's probably better.
Guys, under podcast channel, I want to. This is Dragon Warrior 2. I put some pictures to show you the graphics and combat difference. Show you how spoiled
Definitely. Oh my
Mr.
god, that
Get
black
$80.
background.
Yeah, Mr. $80 game over here.
Man, I think I've got these on the Switch. I got the newer versions. I don't know. I don't think they're as brutally savage, but I've been meaning to
I
get around to
actually
these too.
have Dragon Warrior 1 in my collection. Shout out to Ryan if you're listening. He's the one I bought it from.
Nice.
Local guy here in Houston.
Oh, and you had to buy items one at a time. You needed hundreds of them sometimes, it felt like.
Oh
Yeah,
no.
I've got
And
this
this is what
game, but I
shops
haven't
look like.
played it. Yeah, that's great.
Oh, that's so quaint.
This is the second one. Again, not even the first one.
Oh, that's great.
Makes me want to pull up the first one. I'll throw some pics out there for you folks so you can see it on Twitter or excuse me, X. You can go see it on X. I'll post them on X. Never gonna get used to that.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, Phantasy Star sucks.
It is very good for the time.
Yeah,
Yes.
you know what? That's what it
played it.
is. This game is
Yeah.
a product of its time, and if you're
Yes.
into checking out old RPGs, I'm sure you'll really appreciate it. I do appreciate it. I think it's really cool what they did. I love the ambition. I love the graphics. The music's all right. the gameplay is just incredibly difficult and incredibly hard to figure out where to go if you're trying to do it with no manual. If you know, if you want to go get a guide or something, then yeah, I'm sure you
I
can
would,
get through it pretty quick.
yeah,
But
I would highly
that's probably
recommend using a guide
Yeah.
with all this and Dragon Warrior 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, I had to
See, though,
print off a guide for Fantasy Star. It was
that
19
that's
pages.
what bothers me though is like if you need a guide to play the game, like I understand wanting to use a guide because you want to find all the secrets that you might not be able to look for. It's not against using guides, okay? But if it's required, your game is
Yeah.
broke. You
Yeah.
know, your game is broke if I have to use a guide to beat your game. Okay, if people should be able to eventually figure it out. There's nothing wrong with getting stuck and like puzzles, and that's great. Like that's a challenge. I love a challenge, but this crap.
Yeah.
This,
Even if you do talk to all the NPCs, the information they give you is like, what the hell's that supposed to mean?
yeah, it's scattered and broken. Like the information is scattered and broken. You got to
Yeah.
piece it all together. You literally get told to go somewhere by like two different people in two different towns are telling you the same thing to do. So it's just
Yeah.
off. Like it's off. All right. Final thoughts on Fantasy Star. Nick, you got any final thoughts for us?
I really think it's probably one of the best looking games of the era on a console for a console game. It is a Dragon Warrior ripoff, basically combat wise and gameplay wise, but it had a lot of neat things again, going to different planets and all that fun stuff. But it is difficult and probably something you should play when you have time to sit down and also have a guide.
Andy, how about you, man? Final thoughts.
Kind of the same. It deserves its place in history. It's not the best. It hasn't aged well, but it was unique in that that the sci-fi setting was cool and going to different planets and stuff. It hadn't been done. Yeah, but it's overshadowed by how brutal the gameplay is. You've got to play the Ages version.
Yeah, I would have to say that too. If you want to play this game, go ahead and get the Ages version because they draw the maps for you, which we really didn't touch on that. But those dungeons back in the day, and even in the manual, it says, "Hey, you're gonna want to draw these dungeons out."
They'll drive you crazy.
Yeah, but in the Ages version, they do that for you. There's like a little map there. It's pretty cool. Yeah, the original version is hard. I don't recommend playing this one. Play the Ages version if you want to check it out. It's a beautiful game. It really is, but without a guide, it's just a lot of hard work, and I don't know if it's really worth it. But
The
it's
story is
beautiful
pretty
game.
thin.
Yeah, but like Nick said, this is a product of its time,
Yeah.
and for what it is and when it came out, like wow, super ambitious, like beautiful game, but just incredibly difficult. Yeah,
I'd like to point out one thing, if I can,
yeah, of
that I
course.
just remembered that makes the whole gameplay experience worth it for me. There's a part in the game where you have to go meet with a governor, and you're telling him about your plans to go kill Lassic, who's the bad guy, and he's like, "Oh, yep, cool, no worries. You go do that, and I'll support you." If you leave and then you go back in and you talk to him again, he's literally sitting there and he's like, "That was quick." For some reason, that caught me off guard and made me laugh so hard.
That's good. I like that.
It made the whole game for me. I was like, "Oh, I'll give you that one."
That's good. That's clever. I like
Back
that.
so soon.
That's good. All right. I think that about does it for Fantasy Star and RPGs as a whole.
No,
It's been
no,
a
no,
while.
you-
Anyways, it'll be a while. We'll do another one later. Maybe season.
I definitely
7
got
or
one
8.
for you.
Do we
Tell
wanna
me what
know?
it is. I'll go
Do
print
it.
out the walkthrough and study it now, so that when we play it in 6 months' time, I'll be ready.
That's a fun one. I'll tell you guys after here.
Cool.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and introduce what we're going to be playing next month, shall we? This is a little different game, a little more fun, but also extremely challenging. Super Star Wars for the Super Nintendo.
Talk about
yeah.
hard games.
I was about to say, oh, this one's too difficult. I died in the first time I went and fought a boss. Yeah, or a bad guy. You're gonna do the same thing in this.
I already beat this game before.
Hey, at least the soundtrack's going to be great.
Yeah,
and I'm
right.
gonna beat it on hard mode this time.
Oh, no. No.
Oh yeah. And
You can. I'm not
and
going to do that.
it's on the PlayStation Network,
Oh, it is
okay?
too, yeah.
and they have a global top 10 high score.
Oh.
And my goal
A
before
Super
the next
Nintendo game on the
episode-
PlayStation?
yes, sir, it's there, and it's dirt cheap. And my goal is to get my name on the easy, medium, and hard top 10 worldwide.
It should be hard. There's only probably 3 people on it.
It's full. It's
Is
full.
George Lucas one of them?
Look, no, but you'll see me on there. I'm getting on there. Come hell or high water, I'm getting on that scoreboard.
Yeah,
At
you
least
heard
for
it here.
one of them. Even if I have to do it on the easiest setting, I'm getting on
Ah,
that.
yeah.
Like,
There it
I'm
is.
gonna do it. Yeah.
I'll be
I'm
playing this
gonna
on
beat
the
the game on
easiest
hard,
setting.
but I'm talking about the top
need-
10 scoreboard online. I'm getting on that. It's gonna happen.
I'm just going to go ahead and look up cheats immediately.
I'll say, do you need to borrow my Game Shark?
No, I got the original. I'm gonna play the original version. I'm gonna try to beat it on hard mode on the original, and then I'm gonna try it on the network as well. So there you go.
I thought we were friends.
Good luck to you, man. All right, that's gonna do it for us today, folks. We really appreciate checking this out and hanging out with us. Nick, thank you as always, my good friend. Andy,
Of course.
always thank you, dude. Love having you
No
here.
worries.
Thank you again, everyone out there. And always, please remember the light at the end of the tunnel may be you. Goodbye, everyone.